Welcome, everybody. I'm Rick DiClemente with Astrology Unplugged. Nice to have you tonight with something like episode 207. We have a new president, and I'm not going to go into that stuff. I could talk forever about that stuff, but I promise you I'm not going to because here we are on the other side, and all I'm going to say is he had his button removed today. That was a button he pushed to get a Diet Coke. Mr. Trump had a little push button to get a Diet Coke, and up would come a Diet Coke. So
No.
Mr. Biden had it removed. So that's the first great thing he's done. Okay, everybody. And I think I'll get one installed here. Nice to have you. This is part of starself.com, Astrology Unplugged. We're like a online magazine. Feel sorry for the butler. Okay, like I told you, all you people that are going all this commenting, I won't be able to answer you because I got to really think tonight. Now, tonight, Erica, just stop it. I can never get her to behave herself, I swear. Okay, there's some new people too. Here's a website. Here's a website I have, and I want you to, let's see, we're going to go here. And where did it go? Ah, I took it away. All right, I'll just tell you what it is. We're going to talk about the planets. And if you would like a printout of the planets, let me just do it. It gets so complicated. All right. All right. Go to, here it is, right there. Go to starself.com. If you want to print it out or look at it, starself.com/class/planets.jpg.
Rick, you're muted.
You muted yourself, Rick.
Do that. Okay. Thank you, everybody. That could be a long hour without being unmuted. Okay, I was doing a reading to a young lady today, and she watches a lot of videos, and I was flattered. And she said, I liked you right away because you're a straight shooter. And I appreciated that. I said, I don't know any other way to do it. So I really didn't have an idea for tonight except a couple of vague ideas. So I thought, I'm going to talk about the 10 planets straight shoot because we've done it about week 5 or week 10. And here comes Patricia. Patricia will be our guest at 9 o'clock tonight. Hello, Patricia. Hi, welcome to our group. And you'll be on the back burner till about 9 o'clock. Okay, so I want to talk about the planets. And if you go to starself.com/class/planets.jpg, then you will see this document, which I'm going to teach from tonight. Okay, now another thing about this. I'm going to stop babying you. Okay, because I know I make it real easy to sit and watch, but you guys need to start learning the symbols for these planets. You need to know what sign it rules. You need to know where it's exalted. It's been 4 years now. It's been 4 years. You need to do some work learning these things. So we're going to start off right with the sun. We're going to go right down the road to just Pluto. I'm not going to do Chiron or Eris tonight. Okay, the sun is the ruler of Leo. That's one reason you'll find that the planet that rules the sign, they're similar, but they're not exactly the same. But certainly you could see with Leo people, the sun is in them and it wants to keep shining. And the sun rules creativity. The sun is exalted. Exaltation means where is it best placed? what sign of the zodiac is its best place where it really can operate freely? And the sun is exalted in Aries. So that makes a lot of sense. Aries is the gas pedal's always down, the sun's always shining. Okay, now I'm going to give you a lot of misnomers or what the old books say or what the junkie books said, and I'm going to give you my opinion. Now, I'm going to also advocate this very strongly, not only because I want book sales, a couple dollars, but this book talks about all this. Okay? The whole book is based on this. The Exquisite Zodiac by me and Liza. It's almost 10 years old now. God. All right. The sun is, when you hear your sun sign, it's because your sun was going through that sign for 30 days when you were born. And when it gets to the edge of that sign, what's known as the cusp, a lot of people think, well, I'm a Gemini/Cancer, and I think I'm more Gemini. They read these books, they get these dates. There is no cusp. There is a cusp between houses. There's no cusp between sun signs. And that's one reason you have a diamond on the front. Clearly marked demarcations between the signs. You're one sign or you're the other. The only exception I've ever seen, through careful analysis, long studied, is sometimes I see the Libra/Scorpio cusp, where Johnny Carson's sun was right on there. And Libra is relatively weak compared to how strong Scorpio is, but that's not the way to teach you. You're one sign or you're the other. Now, the sun does what it does in a way that's reflected by the sign. If Leslie is sun in Aquarius, she's going to express herself in Aquarian ways. John is Taurus. He expresses himself more slowly, more down to earthly, more practical, where Leslie comes up with these ideas that are really idealistic and they could be shocking to us. And it's just because she's just more advanced than most people. That's how Aquarius is. Now you look at John, for instance. John is a Gemini. He's going to express very Geminian ideas, but John has a lot of Pluto in him. So you really can't go by the sun sign. And without a doubt, there's no doubt in my mind, everybody's got about 4 or 5 signs in their chart strongly. Not 3, not 6. Almost everybody's 4 or 5. What makes another sign strong is your rising sign, the conjunctions you have, maybe multiple planets in a certain house. There are other things that make your sign strong. T-squares to a certain planet. That's why it's really important that you know what planet rules what sign. It's really important because they're almost one and the same. So the sun is very misunderstood because everybody thinks falsely, everybody thinks that Leo's sun rules Leo. They think they just want center stage all the time and just put the light on me and nobody else matters. Well, that's really not true. It's true sometimes, but you got to be careful. And if you read this book, the thing about Leo is this. The sign before Leo is a sign of Cancer. And Cancer is a relatively soft-spoken, relatively careful, emotional, tender sign. And it's got a lot to do because it's the first sign that's in water. It's dealing with emotions for the first time in general. So when the sun transcends, when the planet shifts from one sign to the next, it transforms into the next, which is what that book's about. What Leo does is Leo says, oh, come on now. I'm not going to be meek and I'm not going to be soft-spoken. This is my jungle. I'm the lion. I'm going to roar. That's where the sun, that's where Leo gets its nature from the difference of coming out of Cancer. And you will learn all the signs are that way. They're all related to the sign before, and they're all an outgrowth of the sign before. So Leo is when you talk with Leos, when you read for Leos, when you investigate Leos, these people want to be creative. They just want to be creative. They're just really creative. Arts and crafts. A lot of them are doing feng shui, interior decorating. There's all kind of things that go on with Leo. But look at the Leo look at McCartney's moon in Leo. It happens all throughout music. These people, with Leo energy, the songs just pour out of them. But when you really investigate down deep, which is what this book is, here comes Lori. Leo is this way because it needs to build confidence. That's why Leo's the way it is. It has to have a because, a reason. And in the sign of Cancer, in other words, you take a Leo and you do a little quarter scratch like on your little lottery ticket. You just scratch a little bit off the surface of a Leo, and right under the surface is a Cancer who's unsure, who's a little bit sensitive. And believe me, they're very hypersensitive. They're really good at acting like they're not. I mean, that's the thing about Leo. It's the sign of the teenager in zodiac. But Leo has other needs, but the main thing about Leo is to gain confidence. And when you express yourself, you gain confidence. Okay? And that's why they need feedback, okay, to find out, and that's how they grow in confidence. Now, the other side of Leo, everybody's got another side. The dark side wants all the attention, can't get enough, and there's not enough attention. And I came up with something right in that book which shocked me, but it was true. Many Leos believe that there's a finite world out there. There's only so much applause, there's so much money, there's only so many promotions, there's only so much attention, and because of that, they're real competitive. If you have jealousy going on that's ruining your workplace, it's a Leo. It just is. Everybody tags jealousy with Scorpio. Leo. Now, it doesn't mean all of them. Some of them are just super great, but it's a Leo dark side. Everybody's got the light side and the dark side. So if the Leo's using their energy properly, they're going to express themselves through the sun, and they're going to do it well, and they're going to get feedback, and they're going to grow from it. The sun and the moon are very, very difficult to talk about. You could ask John that question. John would go, yep. And it's because they're just so basic. The sun and moon are very hard. They're easier to talk about once you've gone through the whole zodiac and look back at them. The sun is the real self. Now, this is interesting, but I think it's really true. When I read for almost everybody, say a Gemini, I unplug that person from Gemini when the reading starts because they're not aware that they got Scorpio and they got Sag and they got Libra and they got all this stuff. I unplug them from their sun sign. We talk about all the things, then they get a different picture of how they are balanced or out of balance. And at the end, I return them back to their sun sign because at the end of the day, if your Gemini is not expressing itself, you got trouble. If you're an Aries and you've got so many planets bogging you down, and we return to your Aries nature at the end of the reading, my job is to get that Aries activated. Because your sun is an example of you expressing yourself. You're being yourself in the world. So there's a lot of misnomer about this stuff because people don't understand when I say, what's your sun sign? That's all it means. The sun was going through that sign, just like the moon was going that sign, and Venus and all the other planets were going through that sign. But it's very regular. It's almost exactly, I can't even remember now. 28, it's almost exactly 28 or 30 days. I can't remember. but it's very regular. So the sun needs to express itself. Okay. Whereas the sun represents the conscious ego, the moon represents the unconscious. And the sun and moon are definitely your two most important planets in the chart. And notice they're not even planets, are they? We call them planets. They're called the lights. In astrology, they're called the lights. One shines and one reflects, but they're not planets. But astrologically, they're planets. The moon is the ruler of what sign? Cancer. The moon is very similar to the sign of Cancer, and the moon is exalted, its best place. If you look at that chart I showed you, or you could take that chart, click on it, put it to your printer, get a nice printout for tonight. The moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. And that's because in the zodiac, the water signs do real well with the earth signs, and the air signs do well with the fire signs. So when you talk about compatibility, that's why air needs fire, fire needs air. Water is shapeless unless it's formed and contained, and earth dries up unless it's got some moisture. So the wonderful moon, which is so emotional, is well contained in the sign of Taurus. It's very strong, a strong place for the moon. The moon represents more things than any other planet. Just follow this. Your emotions, your habits, your feelings, your mother, your property, your grandma, your home, the house, the property, your background, your lineage, the traditions, the moods. The moon is irrational. The sun is rational. The moon is irrational. Doesn't care what you think. It wants to know, how do you feel? You feel okay? How do you feel? That's why cancers are so wonderful. And if a cancer's with somebody that doesn't feel, it's not so wonderful. All you cancers out there, and people are saying, oh, get a hold of your feelings. Okay? All you cancers that are saying, get a hold of you for your feelings. You cancers tell them, yeah, I am moody because I'm moody because I'm moody. Go deal with it. Now, if I'm going off the rails and I'm screaming at everybody, that's a different story. But cancers are moody because they experience this, they experience this, they experience that, they experience this through their emotions. Now, if you are chatting with me, I do not have the time to read it or respond. So remember, you can chat with each other if you would like. If you're tuning in on YouTube, we can see each other's names and we can chat with each other, but you can't see those things. And if you'd like to join us anytime live on Thursday night, just go to Google and type in Astrology Unplugged. Okay, that will give you the link. The moon is very emotional. The moon is really important in a chart. It's possibly the most important planet, maybe besides Saturn. Because the moon is how you feel. And if your moon is disturbed, you just don't feel well. And it can lead to all kind of illness, etc., etc. But more than that, you just don't feel well. You look at two people sitting on a couch, two lovers, and they're very close people. They're sitting on a couch. You're looking at the moon. That's the moon. People sitting on a couch, it's nice and cozy. They're in love. They have loving feelings, warm feelings towards each other. That is the moon. Grandma giving you chicken soup, that's the moon. It's that side of you that needs to feel good. That's why you got throw pillows, and that's why you got all those blankets around, and it's soft and squishy. You go to Cancer's house, you can tell immediately in a Cancer's house because they got all these soft things around. It's all cozy, and they got all these dolls. All these dolls they've been keeping since they were 2. Okay, it's very Cancerian because they're very sensitive to their inner tiny feelings. And you do not mock a Cancer. You don't mock a Leo. You don't mock a Cancer. Because they're very sensitive. Look at Tom Hanks. You see a grown man who's had thousands of roles, but you can just sense the little boy in him. You can sense it, especially when he played Big and when he played Forrest Gump. You can sense the little child inside. What was her name on Saturday Night Live? Rosanna. Okay? There was the cancer. She didn't have to act to come across in that the rocking chair. She's just a little girl. Okay? So it's not that they're immature, it's that their sign represents the feelings. The feelings. When the moon is troubled, that's when my work comes in. When my work comes in, it leads to codependency. It can lead to total dependency. It can be a very difficult thing. I have to unwind, sometimes go into the past life to figure out what were the early stamps upon this person's emotions. What was the mother like? Sometimes I ask about the mothers. Sometimes I even do the chart basically on the mother just to see. But it has to do with your growing pains. So sun and moon are really, really critical. Aspects to your moon are really difficult. You have to really watch them. If the moon has too many aspects to it, it's just hard for that person to feel what they feel and be okay with it. It's just hard. It's hard. If you want to see it, test out a good astrologer, see what they tell you about your moon. Because that's where the real art of astrology is. Okay. The next planet is Mercury, which is the closest one to the sun, and it's really hot. And he's the messenger, Mercury. He's the ruler of Gemini, for sure. And he's also, back in the day before Uranus, when we only had out to Saturn, back in the day, we didn't have enough planets for the signs. So Mercury was also the ruler of Virgo. So even to this day, even though I look at Chiron being the ruler of Virgo, Mercury is said to be a co-ruler or a ruler of Virgo. And there's enough evidence out there that it's true. Here's the difference. Mercury definitely rules Gemini, and that will never change. They're both very quick moving. They're the mind. They're quick thoughts. Investigating ideas. Isn't that interesting? The Gemini mind is more of a data collector. Ooh, look at all that. Look at all that. Look at all that. Now, John, don't fool yourself. You've got that part of you, but you've got a lot of Pluto in you. So you go much deeper, and Gemini doesn't know what deep means. You go deep because of your particular Pluto. Okay? Geminis are not deep signs, they're lighthearted signs. They don't see the point in it, they're wasting time. Whereas in Virgo, the mind is the machine that's measuring and cutting that board. Okay? Accurate mind, analytical mind, sharp, strong mind. You want a job, any job you got, give it to a Virgo. Okay? That's simple. Any job you got, give it to the Virgo if you need to get it done and done right. Okay, so Mercury is very important that it's unimpeded. It can only be in 3 places because it can only be in the same sign as the sun sign or next door because it's closer to the sun than we are. And when you look at Mercury, it's always near the sun. So it can only be in 3 places. So if I'm Leslie, an Aquarian, Mercury for all Aquarians can only be in Capricorn, Aquarius, or Pisces. All of them. Now, Mercury is the kind of mind you have, the way your computer works. And if it's impeded, you either think very conservatively, you think erratically, you think real fuzzy, you can't come up with clarity, you think real sharp if Uranus is involved. So the aspects to it mean an awful lot. Mercury is the third of the 5 personal signs. And you can see on this graphic, these are your first 5 planets. These are the 5 personal planets. They move very quickly, which is why they can be individualized. These planets out here move very slowly. That nails down what generation you're in. The sun, the moon, Mercury so far. You can see it's a ruler of Gemini and Virgo, and it is exalted in Pisces. It is exalted in Virgo. Okay, that's the strongest place to be. Okay. Sun is your consciousness, moon is your unconscious or your emotions, Mercury is your mind. And when I see planets hitting a person's Mercury, or I see transits through the 3rd house, which is Mercury's house, I see their mind changing. They start thinking differently. It's really like a computer update. Pull out that chip, put in that chip. When you see people with nervous breakdowns, oftentimes it's big planets sitting on that Mercury, and the Mercury just can't take it. It just can't take it. As a matter of fact, a breakdown is a breakthrough. A breakdown is a safety mechanism to keep you from being overloaded. And oftentimes the breakdown happens and it's ugly and it's sad. And they used to really go nuts in the 50s and 60s. Oh, he had a breakdown. We see it much more now as a breakthrough because you have tilted. You have tilted and you're hitting the reset button. Okay, so Mercury is really important. Now, the next 2 are really important also, Venus and Mars, because those are the relationship planets, not just intimate relationships. They're the social planets. The Venus, what you allow in, the Mars, how you go out. You need to learn these symbols. You need to know what they rule, etc., to keep up with chart readings. Venus is the ruler of Libra. It's also the co-ruler of Taurus. And in my book, I went way out because I firmly believe that the Earth is the ruler of Taurus. And I got a lot of reasons to believe it, but the Earth is not on the chart. Anyhow, since I've done that and since I've decided to suggest that Chiron is the ruler of Virgo, those 2 exceptions, they're not the rule in astrology, they're just my things I'm promoting, and we'll see through the years how they go. I think the whole concept of rulership is changing. But when you look at Venus, Venus is how you let people in. If you're going to date a woman and you're going to date a guy or whatever you're going to date, find out where their Venus is. That's how they want to be treated. If they got Venus in Leo, you open the door for them. If they got Venus in Cancer, you go in and start talking about how's your mama doing? Right? If they got Venus in Libra, you do things very pleasant. You better look good and everything groomed, looking good and stylish, right? If you got Venus in Taurus, you don't worry about it. Have fun. Got Venus in Virgo, things better really be neat looking, okay? That can really be a tough one. But it tells you a lot about the person. Now, Venus, what I call is this. When the Venus is okay in the chart, it means come on into my house. Come on in and have a sit down in the living room. Want something to eat? How about a drink? That's a very pleasant Venus. You're allowing people into your environment. It's not a threat. If your Venus is threatened, so oftentimes Venus in Cancer, Venus in Virgo, you're getting in the whole foyer. You're not coming in the house. I know Linda liked that one. She's a Libra. I'll let you in the foyer, have some cookies and some tea, maybe, but you're not coming in the house, shoes or no shoes, because I just don't want you in that close. Okay, so Venus has a lot to do with how well you can let somebody get close to you. Now, I don't know what it is, 50% of the readings I've had in the last 20 years have Venus next to Saturn. Opposite Saturn, right angle to Saturn. I have no idea why. Why do these people just go get readings and non-Venus Saturn people don't? But it's just unbelievable how many people I see with Venus Saturn in my charts. And what it means astrologically is somebody who is probably trying really hard to Venus somebody, trying real hard to relate, to socialize. Venus next to Saturn can represent, I'm not comfortable with you getting into me too close. I'm keeping you at arm's length. Now I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but I see it all the time. And it can be many different things. It could be I'm sad because my mom was always sad. It could be I'm sad because I was taught I was supposed to be sad. It could be I'm real happy all the time because I'm overcompensating. You have to be real careful with Venus. Venus is probably the most underappreciated planet of the zodiac because it doesn't do anything to you when it hits you. It might put you in a good mood for one day. Now, when planets hit your Venus, that's a different story. Not Venus hitting something. You don't hear about Venus retrograde often. You hear about Mercury retrograde. So Venus has to do with, it's called the minor benefic. The great benefic is Jupiter. He's the great good guy. And the minor good guy is Venus. That's what they call in the old days. And thankfully, those terms are fading out. So Venus is very important when you want to look at what's happening in your relationships, what your style of art is, your style of clothes, your choice of colors, choice of music, aesthetics, etc. Now, on the opposite sides, the pairing with Venus is Mars. And Mars is the Mars symbol of the male, and Mars is the ruler of Aries. Clear. Why? You get in, you press the gas, let's go. Simple. I don't want anything in my way. Boom. I've been reading this book about Stanley Kubrick and his assistant. His whole life was this Scorpio man. Anything he wanted done, this guy did it. Just marvelous. And this guy was a former race car driver in Italy. And this guy had Mars and Aries. So when I read a book, I do the charts of the author or the subject. And I look at the years that these things happen to them, because that's how you learn. You learn by investigating. And this guy, Mars and Aries, anything he needed done, he said he got it done. That's Mars and Aries. Got something to do, got to go there. Boom. Now, sometimes they run over people, and sometimes they're rude. Most of the time, they're just in a hurry to get it done because I need to get it done. So your Mars in your chart is really important because it's how you go get. Did you know the term best man comes from one of the Scandinavian countries? I can't remember. And it meant you took your best man when you went to the cave next door and smacked her in the head and dragged her back to your cave. And you wanted to fight all the other guys trying to keep her. So you took your best man with you while you dragged her back. And that's really not much different today, I guess. But anyhow, that's what it means. No, joking aside, your Mars has to do with how do I go get? If your Mars is in Cancer, or your Mars is in Pisces, or your Mars is in Libra, well, I thought I'd come by and get one of these things, and you don't mind, do you? Mars and Sag, hey, thank you. Mars and Aries, hey, I came to get one. Okay, Mars and Leo, ooh, look at Trump's Mars and Leo. He said he's going to do it, he did it. Boom, right on his ascendant. He says he's going to do it, he does it. Where'd Waldo go? I know I let Waldo in here. He must be hiding in the... There he is. He's in the kitchen eating snacks. Okay, so Mars is real important to see how well you can go get things. Mars is the ruler of Aries. It's exalted in Capricorn because Capricorn is very just and it uses that energy very efficiently. So Mars and Capricorn are great in the office because they get things done. Erica, I don't have the time. I'm sorry. Now, Mars, if you don't have a strong Mars, you can't go get stuff done. You don't feel the right to get something done. I have to unplug the Mars, and later in the reading, I got to plug it back in and see if it's working. Can you do what you want? Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm allowed. Can I do that? It's just this inability to go get it. So you can see that the first 5 planets are really, really important. And that's why they're called the 5 personal planets. They move very quickly. And by mixing them up, you can see all the permutations, the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, the intellect, the female side, the Mars side. And no, it doesn't mean you're gay if one's stronger than the other. And if you want to go study gay people and try to come up with the solution, what do the planets say with lesbians, etc., you're not going to find it. It's not a planetary thing. It's beyond it. Sometimes Neptune is largely exaggerated with people that are not heterosexual. And that's because Neptune is so boundless. Boundless. Okay, I got to get moving here. Yeah, it's getting there. Jupiter. Jupiter's next. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. It's exalted in the sign of Cancer. Jupiter rules how do you go out and get things? How do you go out and spread yourself amongst the world? And that's why in this chart, you will notice we're going to probably go over, because I am going to do Patricia's chart tonight. Now, you'll notice in this chart, Jupiter and Saturn are social planets. They're not inner planets. They're not outer planets. They're social. So Jupiter rules Sag. It also rules Pisces, and it's exalted in Cancer. Now, I told you my saying on it before, and I don't know how else to put it. Jupiter rules, how do you go forward? And I always use the analogy of your friend stopping by with a van and the door slides open. They say, get in. Okay. Now, if you got Jupiter in Aries like I do, I just get in. I don't ask questions. You got Jupiter in Capricorn. I think Jow has that. Or Jupiter in Virgo. Jupiter in Virgo. He's got everything planned. I'm getting in, but let me sharpen my pencils. Let me get their 7.5 liters of this. They're planned. Everything's there. And they think you're crazy in that van. Why are you going to just pull out, just go crazy somewhere? You don't have a map. So Jupiter has a lot to how do you go forward? I love people with Jupiter and Pisces. I saw one yesterday. That means they just go forward with faith. You would not have invited me unless it were going to be good. So I'm going with you. Right, Claudia? Jupiter and Capricorn. Well, I'm not sure. What time do we stop? What are we going to eat? Everyone's going to get dark. Okay, you see? And it really is true. It really is true. But it's not about the van, of course. It's how you go through life with your sense of I want to expand and explore. Jupiter and Sag, well, they're like, whoop-de-oo, let me bring 7 friends with me. Now, since Jupiter only spends 1 year per sign, most people have a real different Jupiter, but you can tell when you say, come on with me, I'll show you something. The way they react is where their Jupiter is. Okay, Saturn, really important planet, probably the most important planet there is beside the sun and moon. Very underrated. Saturn is a ruler of Capricorn. It's exalted in the sign of Libra. because Libra is very fair, and so is Saturn, and it's very social. And there's no sign more social than Libra. So it's very just. Now, Saturn has a real bad name. It's called the Great Malefic, even to this day. It's the bad guy. It causes depression. It cripples you. It limits you. It stops you. It's the really bad guy from the past. What I've learned, I'm really fighting everybody I can on this one because I don't think that's true. Saturn is also the co-ruler of Aquarius. Saturn is the one that says, if you've got $90, why are you going to spend $90 tonight when you got a week to go? Why don't you spend 15 to give me the rest and I'll hold it for you? Common sense. In that sense, it looks like it's limiting you. But it's not limiting you. It's just common sense. Okay, 4 days later, you're broke. Now what? Now, Saturn does get out of control and it ends up not trusting. That's his biggest problem. Not trusting. It's the ruler of Capricorn. It can be too conventional. It can stay inside the box no matter what. So it's really got to learn to get along with Uranus because it needs to go outside the box. But what I say to people, and I'm having a long fight with Liza about this, because Liza says it's really the planet of limitation. And I tell her, I don't believe that there's a planet that limits you. I think it's the planet of make sure. So we're arguing, we ain't getting anywhere on this one. It's the planet of make sure. So if you know Capricorns, and if you know people with strong Saturns, what they're always doing is making sure, how Waldo? They're making sure that the hotel is right. They're making sure that the plant's growing right. They're making sure that your food's on the table. They're making sure the money's in the bank. Now, the problem I have found, because Saturn definitely represents problems in the chart. The problem I found, now think about your Saturn placement. If you have problems from your Saturn placement and what house it's in, it's because you're trying too hard in that area. You're trying too hard to control it. Saturn's the opposite of let it flow, let it go. Like Sag says, Pisces says, let it go, let it flow. Saturn's too nervous about that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you about this one. Saturn can be the crippling factor in a chart. It all depends. You got to be very careful. See, when I tell you to be careful, that's the Saturn in me talking. Because Saturn sometimes in a chart can become so uptight, so fearful of something going wrong in this area that it can just lock up all the flow of everything. And it can lead to crippling, etc., etc., etc. Now, when Saturn comes over you by transit, you feel more, I got to get to work, maybe more weight on your shoulders, maybe more bills come due. You feel older. It's the planet that makes you older. It definitely makes you age. But it's very underappreciated because there's a difference between healthy limitations and just being a drag. Healthy limitations and just being a party pooper. So the party poopers, you know, have strong Saturns. But the ones who are common sense, they got things kind of balanced, common sense, they have a nicely placed Saturn. Spend some money here, save some money there. So when you go to society, your Venus and Mars have gotten you there. They've allowed people in, you've gone out and found people. Then the Jupiter Saturn comes. So that's why this is so important. This is also in the book. You've gone out and socialized, bring people in, go get people. That whole sense of socialize, then the Jupiter expands you go to college, you have gone to other countries, you've done exchange students, and you've integrated it into your society. Now we get into the outer three planets, and they're really, really different. And they're really the main ones. And they're the main stuff that I study. I mainly watch Saturn out when I do readings. Those four planets, I mainly watch those because they're the troublemakers. Now, the personalities formed and shaped with Jupiter and Saturn. Uranus comes along and Uranus breaks things apart because it gets too stale. And it really doesn't care about putting things back together because that's Saturn's job. Ice ring around it. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. In the old days, it was ruled by Saturn. It's strangely ruled by both. It's exalted in the sign of Scorpio, where it's very explosive. Uranus' job is very simple. If it's too stale around here, I'm going to break it up so I can breathe. That's what Uranus does. I had a lady today, and she was so pleasant. And she had one Saturn problem holding down the whole chart. And the rest of her chart was really good. And it was all from ninth house Saturn, philosophy, being fed Catholic dogma all her life. Can you go out and play? No. Can you go get a piece of pie? No. Can you go down the park? No. And this woman wanted to go play. She had other things in her chart. She wanted to go play. She wanted to have life, have fun. No. What do your sisters say? No. What'd your dad say? No. So she was just fed this all her life. And I made her see that you did this because you had to. Did you get support from dad? No. Did you get it from mom? No. Well, what the hell is a kid supposed to do? So Uranus is all over her now. Hello, my name is Rick. Uranus is all over her now. So Uranus is there not to break her down, not to break her up, not to cause a nervous breakdown. Uranus is there because she's ready. She's ready. It ain't easy. It's not comfortable. The haywire started coming on our connection on Zoom, start breaking up all the picture and all that. That's real common. Because she didn't want to hear it, but she did. But she didn't. But she did. But she didn't. That's what happens. So her Uranus was rising. And that's the planet that said, I've had enough. I'm going to change some things around here. They're too stale. I don't care what they are. I don't care what the traditions are. I've just had enough. Let's start breaking some stuff. Let's start breaking some stuff. Then we can build bigger room, bigger windows. So if you're real repressed, if you're real repressed, the Uranian explosion will be at its most volatile. That's what happened to the United States 2 weeks ago. Because we're real repressed. We just are. We're an uptight country. And it almost got out of hand, didn't it? I saw a guy on the news today who was arrested. He said, it was great. He said, I know somebody died, but I got maced. Whoo, we got hit with batons. Woo. He thought it was a good time. I don't have a comment. Now, what you're going to really see with the GOP, I'll go into that now. And now, because the GOP has dissolved and Uranus is on them now, they're having a Uranus return. Now, how do you have a Uranus return when you've just failed your Neptune return? You've just turned to mush. You just turned into a little puddle, and now you want to lead a revolution? Well, a revolution can only come to you when you're healthy, somewhat. So what you're going to see with the GOP is you're going to see a perverted, complex BS type of act where they're going to try to present shiny new silver. Here's the new GOP. Don't fall for it. The maturity has to be there in Saturn for Uranus to break it up. Uranus breaks it up, Saturn puts it together. So Uranus is all about Pardon our interruption while we renew the place. Neptune's next. Neptune is the really hard planet. It's the hardest of all because it's non-worldly. It's ruler of Pisces. It's very Piscean. It's very non-worldly. And when it comes to you, you're going to have some kind of spiritual crisis, a minor one or a major one. And when Neptune's on you, don't be surprised if you're trying to sell a house and you can't sell it. You're trying to get a job and you can't get it. I don't know. I've been reading some Vedic astrology lately, and they see Neptune as a much more positive influence. Most American astrologers just don't want to touch it. When Neptune's on you, I don't even want to read for you. Because what it means is you need to go away into your little corner and get straight with God. That's what it means. Because Neptune doesn't even recognize your physical existence. It's not interested. It's not going to support you. You don't have any money, it doesn't worry about it. It doesn't see money. Neptune only sees your closeness with God. How unbounded are you? How big is your heart? That's why it's so hard to talk about. So when my clients come and Neptune's on them, I tell them, open your heart more, find out places where you think you're blocked, try to, the 12-step program, try to correct all relationships that are around you. Don't get all hung up on advancements and promotions, etc., etc. That's how Neptune works. And the more you do so, the more Neptune gives you its graces, which is the love and the inclusion. Neptune's really tough. I think I need to go to India for a couple of years and study about Neptune because it's just. I've had people on retainer with me for years. They get to a Neptune talk. Nope, I'll see you in 2 years. I'm not touching you for 2 years. I don't want to get involved with your house sale, your house purchase. Are you being screwed? Are you being shafted? I don't want to get involved in it because Neptune is just too weird. It's just tied to your karma, and it's just too unworldly to figure out. Ain't that right, Waldo? He said, yes, it is. Pluto. Okay, we'll get to the final monster here now. And Pluto is monstrous. It's also wonderful. If you're watching the planets now, everything's starting to clear out. Planets are moving into Aquarius, and what it's leaving us with, beside the Pluto return coming, it's leaving us with Pluto squaring Eris. That's the big story now. Pluto and Eris are at a right angle for years to come. Okay, let's talk about Pluto. Pluto is a very good planet if you are up for it. Poor Waldo. Waldo's fine the way he is. Waldo can handle anything with a smile. Pluto is the planet of the rulership of Scorpio. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. You've all had these nights, you've all had these weeks or months or years when you felt this dark cloud above you. You just feel this big, heavy weight, and you don't really want to hear from your friends. And you don't want these suggestions. It's a dark night of the soul. And the way people start to make their way out of it is they realize it and they start cleaning up their act. And that's what's all over the United States for the last 13 years. And at least another 10 years. All the things that you took for granted, you shoved under the rug, somebody comes along and lifts up the rug and burns the rug. It's that simple. Now, I'm going to be real clear with you. If you don't have much under the rug, it's wonderful. You get stronger, you evolve, you come into your strength. But if you got a lot under the rug and you keep trying to shove more under there, you're in a lot of trouble. That's why I told you partially in the last few weeks there are 4 stages of Pluto. The denial stage, the acceptance stage, which is the tough stage. That's where America is now. We know we're in trouble. We know we got a big load to clean up. And it's a whole lot worse than it was 4 years ago. Then the cleanup stage where you're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, that's stage 3. We're not near there yet. We're getting light. Well, we're starting to see how this is working because we've been cleaning up our act. Stage 4 is, forget that one. That's you're up on your thoroughbred and you're riding through the village and you're just doing just fine and you got your new power. So we're in stage 2. There's no doubt about it. Stage 2 is getting rid of your junk, getting rid of codependency, getting rid of excuses, because Pluto is here for you to evolve as a society, as a family, as a country, as an individual. And if you are not evolving, Pluto will start playing games with you, okay? Now, I don't think Susan had trouble with her leg because of Pluto. I think that was very Uranian. I'll have to look at her chart and study it because Pluto doesn't hit that part of the body, the legs. Pluto hits the sexual organs, private parts, that part, the middle of the body. Uranus attacks the knee, from the knee to the foot. Okay, so when Pluto's on you, it's really simple to talk about, ain't easy to do. It's that passion inside of you that you've been denying. And it's the part that I really want to do this. Are you listening to it? Are you paving the way for it? Then it'll help you. Hear what I'm telling you. Pluto will help you if you start to pave the way for that passion to come out. You don't have to conquer it today, tomorrow. You just have to start clearing away, just trying. Then it really works miracles. It's unbelievable planet. Really powerful. So what you're seeing, before I go to Patricia, with the United States now, with the Pluto return coming in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of people in a lot of trouble because they've just hidden and put stuff under the rug and they have denied finding their courage. On the other hand, you're going to see a lot of people get a lot stronger because they're owning that courage. They're owning it and they're finding it. And I've talked with people who were backed into a corner. Everything was going on in their life. And that's what had to happen before they reached deep to summon that power. And when you do, Pluto comes out with people and money and books and movies to support you. It definitely will, because it's there. So Saturn wants to congeal things. Uranus break them up and get them new breathing room. Neptune dissolves everything so that you're back at even oneness with the universe and there's no separation anywhere. And Pluto moves you on to become more powerful. People come to me and they say, I want to do something more meaningful. That's coming from their Pluto. Okay, Sarah, we'll see you later. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we're going to get on now because I've been promising for weeks to read the chart for one Patricia, and your last name won't be shown. I need you to unmute yourself, please. Okay, hello, Patricia. Where are you coming from?
Well, I live in the US, in California, for over 23 years, but I'm originally from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
Oh,
Just
you're
like
from Rio. Okay, well, thank you very much. Nice for you to join us. And Zhao's up there going, he does that every show. He starts pointing at it.
I can't
Because that means I got one too. That means he's also from there. Okay, I've got your chart ready. I'm not going to do a thorough reading
Okay,
because I need to get much more personal. But we're going to get into the heart of what's going on and see what happens. And also, I'm going to tell you very clearly, you were not meant to have a reading a week ago or 2 or 3 or 4 because the planets weren't right. That's why
good.
you didn't have it. And so tonight the planets are just right, and that's why we're going to take a look.
Okay,
Now, I want to
okay.
say something first. You YouTubers, thank you for being with us. If you would like to have your chart read on this show, I can't promise you, but I can try. Number one, I won't read the chart without a birth time. I need a birth time because it's just too hard. If you would like your chart read, send me an email to rick@starself.com. That's like yourself, myself, star self. Send in your birth date, the minute, the hour, AM, PM, and the city you were born in, and I will try to get to you. I know there's one more person coming after Patricia in the. So long, Margie. Good to see you. Bye bye. Okay. Um, if you would like a reading, send it to me and I will do my best to get you on the next available spots. Okay, so let's get into her chart. Okay, here she is. Well, isn't this interesting? And these readings are really good for the show because you see a different person with a different kind of I need to fix that. A different kind of experience. So you see Saturn setting. The planets rise and they sit. Uranus at the midheaven. She's a Capricorn. Look at that, 27 degrees. All the planets are just about to hit 27. Pluto's coming up on it. Saturn just left it. Jupiter just left it. Mars just left it. Here comes Pluto, and here is Eris. Eris is now over here at 26 or so. So she's got Eris squaring the sun while Pluto's sitting on it. Okay, the moon is in Sag. Okay, now the fact that your sun is being hit by conjunction by Pluto, Saturn is just hit it, Eris is hitting it. All we need to talk about first is this your sun sign. Okay, what this means is you're done with it. You're just done with stuff in your life that doesn't work, especially being a Capricorn, because Capricorns lie to themselves. If I do all the right things, I'll be okay. And that's a lie. So let me ask you, you're living where in the US?
Los Gatos, California.
You're in California? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you married?
Not currently, no. I'm
Okay.
single.
You're a single woman. Children?
No, thank God. I have
Okay.
cats.
Okay.
They're my children.
Yeah, okay. Now, what kind of work do you do?
Well, I do different things. Job wise, I am an analyst for a big corporation, famous social media company. And I also have a side business, a YouTube channel where I work with tarot reading and some astrology stuff.
Okay, very good. All right. Now, I'm not going to dig much into your past with your mom and dad and all this stuff. Normally, I would. With Pluto on you now, it's been coming for a long time. It's been coming since 2008. Somebody got that knob on you, and they've been turning that knob up since '08 till now, and there ain't nothing you can do about it because that knob is inside you. It ain't out there. Pluto's the most intense, and it's the farthest one away, except for Eris. What this means is your passions want out. And I don't care whoever's in the way of stopping you, they've got to go. Now, how are you feeling about that?
I've learned recently that I had a passion for politics, which I never knew I had. Which, my Pluto is in Libra
Your
and
moon
it's
in
in the
Sag,
ninth house.
your moon in Sag.
Exactly. And my Pluto is in Libra in the ninth house, which is Sagittarius house. So this most recent election made me really want to study politics, which I would never think I would be interested in. So
Okay.
that is something very new to me. And yes, I'm very much done being a Capricorn.
Well, you're going to start living the Capricorn and being appreciative, and you're going to value it. There ain't no way to turn it off, but you can definitely improve the lot that Capricorns have. Now, what sticks out to me is this Saturn in Leo. Okay. And here comes Uranus. Uranus, by the way, everybody, I just looked it up. Uranus is now about 6. Uranus is going to go about a degree a month for 9 months. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's in Taurus. It's going to go all the way to 15. Almost a degree a month, which is unheard of. And that's because it's been retrograding for so long. Now it's going to start flying. So Uranus is going to go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so you see that next 8 months from now, Uranus is going to be hitting this Saturn. See? Uranus is going to be about 17, 14. It's going to hit that Saturn. That Saturn is the main planet in this chart because this is a bucket pattern. There's the handle. What does this mean? Saturn is in Leo. Okay. You want to know why? You want to know why she's getting interested in politics? It's not because of Trump. Is it because of Democrats? No. Is it because of Republicans? No. It's because she's fed up with people not being respected. That's why.
Especially the people, because I am very much an Aquarian kind of person too. I care
That's
about
right. And
people.
Saturn and Leo energy. You know that lion got really pissed off when the wizard started messing with Dorothy or any of them. That's archetypal. He stood up. You're not going to play with my friend's dignity. You're not going to. This is not a Capricorn energy, Patricia. This is your Saturn and Leo. And remember, it's your ruling planet. So your ruling planet is in Leo.
Mm-hmm.
So you need the Capricorn and you need the Leo. And that Saturn and Leo is wakening up. And it's wakening up because that Uranus is coming by. The Uranus is going to square it in about 8 months. And you're going to feel it coming on because you're going to start saying yes to all these radical groups that people are going to want you to join. And the Capricorn normally, I can't do that. Or should I do that? No. You're going to start saying yes to it. Can I put the chart up? Okay. Now, so like I said, Uranus is going to come here, and Uranus is going to square that Saturn. Now, while that's doing it, Pluto is going to stay on that sun. Eris is going to stay down here squaring it. So we see the fundamental karmic changes that are coming to you. This is very karmic. This tells me that you've been involved in politics heavily in the past life. Okay? Now you got Uranus at the top of the chart at 11. It's 3 degrees away. Okay? So it's in Scorpio, where it's exalted. This is a very powerful Uranus. Let's go look here. You got Mars exalted in Capricorn, good use of your energy. Mercury's in Capricorn, stationary. So was he retrograding or he was changing direction on the time that you were born? The moon is in Sag. Here's the T-square. Pluto, opposite Eris. Look how close it is. Pluto 14, Eris 13. See? So the square point would be 13. So it's hitting your Mars. So your Mars has got tremendous power from it. The Pluto, and it's got it from the Eris. Now here's the trouble with that. Here's the trouble with that. Your Mars is very strong. But will Capricorn allow it?
Yeah.
You see? And what you've got to do is start really understanding Capricorn. That's where your lesson is. You need to understand why Capricorn's so careful. It's only because it wants it to work. It doesn't want you to be a Capricorn like MLK. You can do what you want to do, but you can't always do it the way you're supposed to do. My dad was a Capricorn from the old country. He didn't know how to say anything but how you supposed to do. What do you want, Dad? How you supposed to do it? What do you want,
Both
Dad?
of my
How you
parents
supposed
are
to do it?
Capricorn.
Huh?
Both my parents were Capricorn. My father
Okay.
is deceased,
All right.
but my
Well,
mom.
you've got a very strong sense in how you're supposed to do it, but you've got to really start playing with those borders, right? And you got a real strong Uranus at the top of the chart. Okay? So you really need to start stretching all that Capricorn part of you so that it's more flexible. Now it's really dignified. It's in its best place in Capricorn, which is efficient use of energy, but it's in the 12th house, so we don't know what that's about. That's something past life. But your Saturn is really coming to life, so you've got to watch. You've got to let this planet speak and subdue this one. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you got to subdue this one, and let that one speak. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now tell me how you're feeling so far from what I've said to you.
It's accurate. It's good.
What questions do you have from what I've said?
Well, I want to learn more about how to work my Saturn because I feel like my chart is not a bad chart,
It's not a
but
bad chart.
the Saturn in Leo in my seventh house is a problem. And
Why? Why?
well, to me, it's a problem because I have Venus and Mars, both exalted, and like my relationships, love wise, right? They are not problematic per se. I have no trouble attracting somebody, or no problem dealing with them. But when we talk about serious relationship, which is ruled by the seventh house, right? Then I feel like that's where things go crazy,
Okay.
or I don't have control. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. First of all, you said a mouthful. Very good. You said things go crazy and I don't have control. There's your answer with the statement.
Hmm.
You cannot have control. The reason you can't have control, it ain't possible to control it. So you've already answered your own question. The reason they go crazy is because you can't control it. In other words, you're very controlled. And when you're controlled, things don't go crazy. But what that means is the number one issue for Capricorns is to learn how to trust to go with the flow.
True.
That's your answer. That's your answer.
Hmm.
And it's not simple because it's not simple. I'm not belittling this. It's not easy because you're a very advanced sign. You're a 10th sign out of 12. You got a lot of potential. You got a strong Neptune. You got 3 planets in Capricorn. You got a strong Aquarius. But that's the reason for this reading, is to confirm that yes, all this political stuff is happening, but without a doubt, the purpose of this reading is to talk to you about control. Because if you were able to control your life, then there's no God. It's that simple. God's controlling. All you can do is go along with the ride and help to steer, maybe. Maybe. I don't even know. Just, the people who are really happy in this world, they go along for the ride and they're okay with what's happening. And you have the delusion fed to you that you can control things. And all you need is the love in your heart for people. Because we've seen that you're going right, you're going correctly because you love people and you can't stand to see them slighted. You can't stand to see them being ignored or defaced. That's all you need. The rest will take care of itself. Now, how are you going to be in a relationship How are you going to be in a relationship and be happy while you're controlling it?
It's true.
It's not possible. I'm not trying to be difficult. It just ain't possible. That's why everybody you hear, every book you read, every movie you make, everybody you talk to, what do they say? They all say one thing. It just happened. Right? Everybody. It just happened. Why do you think it just happened? Because you got something higher behind you that's controlling things, that's bringing you. So your efforts to control are squelching it. See? And you have every reason to believe that you could be really, really successful with your politics and with your job and with love life, all that. You got a very strong chart. But that's what this is about. And if you think you can go into politics and do well because you're controlling it, because that's what David Hawkins' book was about. Power versus force. Force is, well, I'm going to try to do what they did at the US Capitol when they tried to force their way in. Power is what the water does at the shoreline. You can't stop power. Force is nothing. Force is mythical. So the story here is this. You think this might be a shock to you? I don't. I think you're totally, totally ready for this message.
So I have one question regarding that. So because my sun is in the 12th house and my Saturn being in Leo, it's almost like a fight between me being famous and not wanting to be famous. I like my privacy a lot. And even in my YouTube channel, for example, I tend to not show my face. I only show my hands, but people keep asking to see me. And whenever I do any videos where I show myself, people love it and they ask for more. But I really have a hard time like trying to put myself up out there. I don't like, I feel like I'm being invaded. My privacy is extremely important to me. So I
Well,
feel
I
like
understand.
politics might be a problem.
I've done this a long time. I understand it. I started 1982 on the radio, and I've done this 4 years on the show. It's not easy. It's not. But again, it comes down to trust. What do you think? What do you think these people are going to do to you?
Honestly, my fear is not what they think of me. My fear is some crazy people hunt me down, try to do something, against me, like physically attack me or my family
Well,
member.
I can understand that. I can't help you with that because nobody's chasing me down for my good looks. I
No,
can,
I know,
I
but you
can,
know what I mean, right? Once you become a
John,
public
John, you
figure,
stop it.
like right now, I would not want to be one of the politicians, with these crazy lunatics.
Okay, Patricia, let me tell you something. Okay, I'm going to give this to you straight from my heart. Okay, you got to stop trying to control what God wants to do with you. If He wants to put your face out there, you got to trust Him. It's that simple, and that's what your chart's showing. And your sun's going to get smashed up and down until you let go. When you let go, you're going to go so far you're not going to even believe it. Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm afraid of that. I don't know.
Well, it's scary, sure. It's scary, sure. That's why you got to trust. You got to trust. You got to
I
just trust.
tend to tell people that I'm not afraid of anybody but myself because I know what I'm capable of.
Yeah, but everybody feels that way about themselves.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, but you need to just let go because I got a saying, and you can write this down if you want. And I just made this up years ago, and I don't know if it's true or not, but think about it anyway. Okay? Think about this. And I think it's pretty darn true. And I've seen it a lot with women because women are the powerhouse. Women have to get us out of the mess we're in, the mess that men made. Okay? in this, write this down and consider. You can throw it away if you want. You do not have the right. You do not have the right to repress goddess energy when she wants to speak through you as you. And what you're doing, you're saying, oh, here comes this energy. Well, I'm not sure. Hold on there. I'm not sure I want to let that through. Oh, where'd you say we're going to go? I'm not sure. Where are we taking it? Well, that's not really how I want to go. You got to become more flexible and allow it through, because goddess is you. Your talents are goddess. You're not here and goddess is over here. So that's what this transit's about. And that's why this reading has been so stern, because that's what these planets are going to do. That's what these planets are going to do. And you have to have a talk with that Saturn and put it in this place, because Saturn is a great, great planet to help you get it together. And successful people all have a strong Saturn. You can't be successful without it. You just can't hold it together. But all sun signs lie to us, and yours is lying to you. And it's trying to teach you, if you're in control and if you do everything the way you're supposed to, you'll be okay. And it's a lie. Now, do you have any thoughts about that?
It makes sense. One thing that is interesting, do you know, can you go back like on my chart to see what planets were where
Yeah. What's the date?
in 2018 around June?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Hold on, please. Okay. Let's go back to 2008.
No, 18.
2018. 18. I got to repaint it so you can see it.
Okay. Yeah, there are some major events that happened.
Okay, let's look at the major planets. First of all, Pluto had just gone past Mercury. Okay, Pluto was just finished squaring Pluto.
But that's January, right? What about June? Does it?
I'm not going to worry. I'll put it in June. I'm not going to worry about which month, because we're talking about major planets. Okay, now we're in June. Jupiter's just gone over Uranus. Uranus is at 1, so Uranus had just crossed into fixed signs. So it was probably something Uranus did, because it just crossed into fixed signs. And that would send shockwaves to all your fixed planets, such as your Saturn. So it's probably something that Uranus did to Saturn. So was it involving a relationship?
No, not really. What happened was I see that it's hitting my third house, right? Uranus.
Yes.
So my third house is where I have Lilith as well, and
Lilith, yeah.
Lilith, and also Aries, right? So you're talking about the goddess power, right?
Right.
2018, that's when I felt this enormous need to learn to read the tarot, which I never would have imagined that I would do. And I just felt like a type of anguish if I didn't, learn how to do it. And also I had to create a channel because if I felt the need to spread the message to others.
I'm showing you your answer.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the choice of a name for my YouTube channel literally translates to, in English, the awakening of Lilith.
Okay, well, it was definitely Neptune hitting your Venus in Pisces. That's a double, triple Pisces meaning. That means you are here to spread love to people.
Mm-hmm.
You're here to spread it out to people. And Neptune had been working on you for months, maybe even years, trying to open up that channel of intuition. Okay? But Neptune is really, really big. And that could also be why you didn't want to be seen. Neptune doesn't want to be seen. Neptune is a very quiet force. So I think you got an awful lot of astrological ability. That's really good. You have all these abilities. It's just a matter of getting that Saturn wrestled. Because what's happening, that Saturn in Leo wants to be recognized. The rest of your chart doesn't. But the Leo in your chart wants to say, I did it. The rest of your chart says, it just happened. I did it. It just happened. That's the story in your chart.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Because if you get satisfied with I did it, it adds up to nothing. Adds up to nothing. Right, Claudia? Yeah. So, Patricia,
Mm.
the way you keep the Saturn in Leo happy is you don't let anybody mess with you. You defend your honor. You keep your head strong. And I firmly believe, because I'm out there, because nobody wants to come after me physically, but I don't think so. Anyhow, the way you do it, once again, is you put yourself in the hands of the Holy Spirit. He knows what he's doing with you. You didn't get this YouTube channel because you wanted it. You're watching the Holy Spirit open up a channel through you. It ain't you.
Yeah. And I did start also receiving a lot of messages, like when there was this specific experience that was very shocking to me because this what was one of the first one. It was a Halloween night. Me and my sister were dancing on the dance floor in a nightclub, and suddenly I bursted out to her, "Oh my God, you're pregnant!" And she's like, "What?" And she's like, "You're crazy. I'm not pregnant." And then later on, a few days later, she tells me, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe it. I am pregnant." And so the way that the intuition comes to me, and I think maybe that's because of Uranus in Scorpio, right? It's sudden.
That's
Is
right. That's right.
It's very sudden. I feel nothing. Like there is no feeling attached to it most of the time. And it sounds like somebody's talking to me.
Mhm.
And so, which
That's
is very
very
unusual to me.
that's very Uranian, yes. Flat.
Yeah.
It's the
So I
flat.
have a strong connection with Uranus power. I feel very, very like an affection towards it. And
Well, it's
Saturn,
really strong in your chart, both of
yeah,
them. And having Saturn and Uranus both strong is really good because both will warp us unless we let the other one, they got to be in teammates together. But I like the Saturn and Leo. It's going to keep you strong. It's going to keep you strong. If you go down, you're not going to go down for long. Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, YouTubers. An awful good chart. Anybody else would like, let me know by email. And what am I saying now? Next week, we have one of our favorite people come back. Linda Veros will be talking to all of us about everything about Reiki. Okay. If you're into it, if you want to know more about it, what it is, what the symbols are about, all that, Reiki is the subject, and Linda Veros will be the guest. Okay. Have a good week. Enjoy your new president. Okay, Linda?
thank you.
Enjoy your new president. And if you got a button at home that gets you a Diet Coke, just unscrew it.
I'm very happy with Biden. Not
Yeah.
Bernie was my choice, but Biden will do it. Anything but the orange monster.
Oh, but look at the contrast between these two. Oh my God. Anyhow, night to everybody. Have a good week. I'll see you then.
Thank you. Bye, Rick.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.